All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Mindful Moment session. My name is Jean, and it's an honor to be able to host these sessions for you all. So, this week, our session is going to be focused on the topic of remembering your purpose. Uh, So, purpose provides direction and energy for focused action. Purpose is really what you aspire to. It sort of gives you a vision of your best possible self and pulls you toward it. And it really gives your life meaning and aligns and helps to align your everyday choices with your values and something bigger than yourself. And in our days, in our lives, we make a lot of choices every day. And our purpose is sort of like this internal compass that guides us in these decisions. And mindfulness is the mechanism that helps you check in with your emotions, with your thoughts and feelings about possible resolutions to any problems that we encounter. So we're going to do a short exercise where we're going to envision our ideal life. So closing your eyes, settling your mind and body with your breath, and try to imagine yourself 5 years from now. Is everything going as best as you can imagine it? What are you doing? Are you serving others? What matters most to you in this scene? You can draw as much detail out as you can, whether it be sights, sounds, or even people. And we're going to close our eyes for just around a minute. All right. When you open your eyes, if you have something next to you, maybe you can jot anything down or you can jot things down later, perhaps in a journal. And so purpose really infuses our life with meaning and aligns our everyday choices with something that aligns with our values. And so, one thing we are going to do is to take inventory of our strengths and values. Strengths are what you're doing when you feel the most energy and liveliness, and values serve as guideposts. So think about three people you really admire. Imagine seeing them and try to think about what qualities you admire about them the most. And another thing we can do is ask ourselves questions. So we know that our our questions in our mind and what we think is most centered and most stable when we are thinking from a calm and centered place. So maybe take a few deep breaths and ask yourself, what is most essential to me? What makes me feel most alive? This sort of ties back to the strengths that we talked about earlier, where strengths make us feel really good when we're doing something and we have a great strength at a specific task or skill. It makes you feel most alive. And what do I care most about? All right, I don't have a pen or pencil right now beside me, but I will be writing what I thought about after this session. And a powerful thing is also to share with your purpose with others, because there is power in a public declaration. And when you say it to someone, you have greater accountability for yourself. And now that the other person knows this, they can also support and encourage you along your way. All right, so now we are going to transition to our mindful practice for the week. But before we do that, I would like us all to take 3 deep breaths. So breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. All right. So this particular practice I chose this video to go along with is pretty cool, as it gives you a 360 view of the river. So we'll be practicing for 5 minutes. And during these 5 minutes, you can just sit quietly or do whatever you would like to, or you can also continue to think about those questions that I had earlier relating to the purpose, your purpose.
Friends would walk up to me and just be like, "What the f is in your mug?" And I would just tell them, "It's mud."
I did not expect that.
I was drinking tons of coffee.
now that we are finished with our mindful practice, we will transition to our discussion section. So thinking about the questions, what is your purpose? Why is it important to have a purpose? And how are you carrying out your purpose? Let me reshare again just to make sure that my sound is working. All right, so my purpose right now, foremost, is to learn how to become a good adult. Because as a high schooler and a student, I guess my priorities would be learning and trying to learn as much as I can, but also being a good person with good morals and having concern for myself, but also having concern for others. So, my purpose of how to become a better adult, I guess, how am I carrying out my purpose? Well, I think that practicing mindfulness is definitely a good way to, a good habit to develop and something that is sort of fulfilling some part of my purpose. And I guess a big part also of learning to become an adult is to observe those around you who you admire, such as maybe teachers or parents or siblings or family members or friends, and to observe and see their good qualities and to see how you might be able to um, learn from them. And it's important to have a purpose, I think, because otherwise your days would just go by and by, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between, I guess, there wouldn't be a big difference between Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Um, it's important to know what you're aiming for, even if it's just a small goal, and a small purpose rather than your overall purpose of your life. Um, because then you will feel like you have a greater sense of satisfaction when you carry out what you wanted to do. Um, and you feel like your life has a direction, which is very important. So we're going to end the session with a quote. Mind is just like water. When agitated, it is difficult to see what lies beneath. When settled, the answers surface. The purpose of life becomes clear. So the way that I interpret this quote is that um, when we're searching for our purpose in life, we can't just be frustrated that we don't know the immediate answer to it. It really takes a lot of settling down and coming from a common centered place. Then it will be easier to identify your purpose. And I would like to source the National Geographic Everyday Mindfulness special issue. And thank you all so much for joining me for this week's Mindful Moment session. As always, it's an honor to be able to host these sessions for you all, and I hope you all took away something from this week's topic of remembering your purpose.